Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely crucial, the architecture of resilience and personal mastery. Now, if you've ever felt completely paralyzed by a past failure, or you're just wondering how to forge true, lasting mental endurance, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to trace this fascinating journey from past frustrations straight to future strength, and we're going to figure out how to literally re-engineer the way we handle our own setbacks.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why do we give up on new habits? You know the drill, right? It's a frustrating, looping cycle we've literally all experienced. We decide, hey, I'm going to start a new routine. Maybe it's waking up early to jog, or maybe just reading 10 pages a day. Things go perfectly smoothly for a week, and then bam, we hit a brick wall. Well, according to the research, there's this fascinating psychological trap that triggers the very moment we start making real progress. We actually begin analyzing why we didn't do this in the past, and our brains just completely fixate on why we gave up in the middle of our efforts before. Analyzing those past, middle-of-the-road failures, it creates an active, exhausting struggle in our minds. It literally pushes us to believe that, hey, we're probably just going to give up this time too. We get so incredibly judgmental about our past wrong decisions, and by letting that internal critic take the wheel, we actively sabotage our current possibilities before they even have a chance to bloom.
And that brings us to a huge crossroads in how we handle our setbacks. See, when we dwell on past mistakes, we trap ourselves in this vicious cycle of self-sabotage. It's like we're dragging around those old failures like a heavy, rusted anchor. We end up projecting the past onto the future, letting those old experiences completely define what is possible for us right now. But to cultivate a true growth mindset, you have to deliberately cut that chain. You need to forgive yourself for those missteps and use them as stepping stones to nurture something totally new. Instead of looking at them as concrete proof that you'll fail, use them as the exact reasons to prove your self-worth and your newfound commitment. You've got to stop letting yesterday's experiences dictate today's possibilities. You need to believe that you are a changed person right here, right now. You learn from those missteps, and you are ready to use them to improve yourself today.
Because here is a vital, grounding fact we all need to remember. We are who we are today because of numerous mistakes and mess-ups. It really is that simple. You are human. I am human. Making mistakes is fundamentally how we transform and evolve. When you view your past failures through this empathetic lens, they stop being these heavy weights pulling you down. Instead, they become the absolute bedrock of your current resilience. Without those messy, uncomfortable mess-ups in your past life, you simply wouldn't possess the unique perspective, the hard-earned wisdom, and the strength you have right this very minute.
Because guys, here is the truly liberating reality. It is completely fine to fail. Seriously, finding yourself lacking certain skills isn't a dead end at all. It opens up the incredible possibility of actually developing. When you don't know how to do something, you are just standing at the starting line of the unknown. And that means you get to experience the sheer fun and unbelievable pleasure of learning, improving, and eventually mastering something totally new. It's this exact attitude, welcoming the unknown and embracing that steep, sometimes super wobbly learning curve, that keeps us moving forward. It keeps us excited about what we can become instead of just being terrified of what we don't know.
And this brilliantly illustrates that this isn't just some feel-good psychological trick, right? It is grounded in actual physical biology. Enter neuroplasticity. When you tackle a new challenge and actively try to gain mastery over it, you are giving your brain a literal workout. Embracing the struggle forces the development of brand new neural patterns, keeping your mind super adaptable and physically healthy. You are quite literally building mental muscle here. By tackling these challenges instead of just running away from them, you're physically rewiring your brain to be healthier, stronger, and just way more resilient for whatever challenges come next.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our daily actions. We all know the deep, magnetic temptation of just sitting on the couch. Binge-watching mindless reality TV or endlessly online shopping just because we're kind of bored. We harbor this false expectation that satisfaction or some sudden magical burst of motivation will somehow find us while we just sit there waiting for the perfect moment. But reality? Reality requires what we call right effort. Embracing the upward struggle of a difficult task is the actual engine of your well-being. That right kind of effort is exactly what keeps you hopeful and motivated to do better, more meaningful things in life. You simply don't get the rewards of mastery by avoiding the work.
So, let's bring this right down to the immediate present with a challenge that sounds incredibly simple, but is honestly surprisingly excruciating. 1 minute of doing absolutely nothing. Just think about how you endure a short phase of inactivity in your daily life. For most of us today, sitting idle for just 60 seconds creates this profound discomfort. Just picture that tangled storm of anxiety in our heads. We squirm, we panic, we desperately seek a distraction to just fill the void. It really goes to show just how much our baseline mental endurance has eroded over time. We can barely handle the time it takes to heat something up in the microwave without feeling this existential itch.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it captures a deeply relatable behavioral reflex, this false sense of busyness we've created just to cope with that discomfort. Think about it. The second we have to wait in line or step into a crowded elevator, what is our immediate reflex? Boom. We pull out our phones. We doom scroll or pretend to text someone just to avoid 30 seconds of eye contact or silence. We are literally terrified of idle time, using notifications to constantly escape boredom. But the research points out something absolutely vital here. Building the capacity to just endure things, facing a simple moment of silence without a glowing screen, is a critical everyday mechanism. Because think about it, if you can't endure the tiny, everyday discomfort of an idle minute, how are you ever going to endure the larger, prolonged struggles required to master a new skill?
So the crucial point is how this everyday endurance fuels a much larger path to mastery. It goes in steps. First comes the struggle. You actively choose to climb the mountain and reach for mastery in a certain area, rather than just seeking out an easy distraction. That climb, it forges the next stage, immense discipline and confidence. It's a direct result of pushing through the hard parts, almost like interlocking gears finally turning to build muscle. And because you stuck it out, you unlock maturity. You've grown deep roots, making you open-minded and fully equipped to open the door to your next great mission. Enduring those everyday struggles equips you with the exact tools you need to embark on entirely new possibilities.
Which leaves us staring at this final, really expansive question. If you can endure the discomfort of today, what mission will you conquer tomorrow? Everything we've covered today, from forgiving your past self, to literally rewiring your brain through neuroplasticity, to simply sitting in silence without your phone, it all builds the architecture of your personal mastery. Your past mistakes? They do not define you. They actually built the foundation you are standing on right now. The temporary discomfort of trying something new, of struggling to learn, is exactly what unlocks your true potential. So invite the challenge, embrace the temporary struggle, and just see how far your new confidence will take you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, I hope you are completely ready for whatever mission comes next.